We're back! Did everyone enjoy that 3-minute break where you watched the screen? I hope you did. And I really mean that. On the couch, we've got Rusty and we've got Spawn. Now, obviously, before we got to the last game, I gave a shout out that we needed some casting phrases for our new casters. One of those is about to come up. We've got Benji on the desk for the next game, which is AV versus Chiefs. We got a heap of suggestions. I've got some of them.
Okay.
I also have
A whiteboard
that we will write down the best ones so that Benji, because he's a forgetful boy, doesn't need to keep him in his noggin.
That makes sense.
Easy.
Fedora the Explorer. And a shout out to Fedora because I actually know Fedora. He's in my fantasy football and fantasy NFL teams. That's how nerdy he and I are. We play fake number sport. They just got beaten like a Bob Ross paintbrush.
I like that.
Yeah?
Beat the devil out of it.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like it references almost a previous segment we've done here on the OPL where Juves and I got our Bob Ross on.
Oh, I didn't see that segment.
I feel like that's a lie. We came up with a segment earlier today that involved painting that I don't know
but
if
we
it's gonna
can't
make
show
on
our camera
podcast.
yet.
Yes.
Yes, we need to get a little bit more documentation signed, and then maybe we can bring it to you.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that documentation side needs to be from the viewers.
Yes, correct.
The next one from @TRMERXZAY. No idea how to pronounce that. Bangarood.
Bangarood.
Bangarood? Yeah, probably Bangarood.
I said it'd work. Yeah,
I put Bangarood.
I just think a bangarang.
I think you're probably
Can
right.
I do think of Bangarang when like they had the food fight in Peter Pan. No, it's Hook. Hook.
Yeah, good movie.
I think
Great
on the back
movie.
of saying bangaroo, you have to like break into just a hardcore like dubstep. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I thought it sounded like Barangaroo, which is like the suburb in Sydney.
I've literally
That's-
never heard
yeah.
of that place in my life.
Yeah.
And I never want to go there or anywhere
Oh,
else
it's
in
fantastic.
Sydney.
It's beautiful.
It's a lovely spot. There's a very big building there. Yeah, no, we can. That one can get out here. So much so I'm deleting it for the document, so it's like it never actually happened. Lol Arkangle.
Archangel?
Archangel? Lol Archangel? I really.
Archangel.
He's been on the
Arkangel.
show since
We'll go
like we started
Arkangel.
last
Yeah,
year.
it's Archangel.
Arkangle, good.
Yeah.
Losing harder than the war against the emus. I mean,
Cuts
we've,
deep.
you know,
Is this one of those, like, who actually knows about this so-called emu war?
well, there were no survivors, mate. No one lived to tell the tale.
Have you read the Wikipedia page on it?
Yes.
No, is it good?
It's pretty good.
I feel like, here's my issue with this. I feel like it perpetuates a stereotype that while we may have a few new viewers right now who are not from the OPL region, who are going to be like, oh wow, okay, it really is like I imagine in Australia. Like an emu could just kick down the door at any moment and burst in.
Well, yeah. Well, didn't we lose 2 of them?
Yeah, I think we lost 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was more like a hunting party that gave up or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's because we gave up, we lost the war. Like
Yeah,
we
it's not
didn't
really a
actually.
war.
Yeah.
It's like a skirmish at best.
Yeah. We
At
lost
best.
2 battles.
Yeah. Yeah, that one could get out of here as well. You're out of the dock. Dagan Kun. Big beans. I love this
like
one.
big beans.
I like
Good.
big beans.
Yeah,
I love
it.
it. In fact, I'm going to say, so we've got the Bob Ross one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, Benji, you have to shout out Big Beans 3 times.
3 times.
And it can either be in a row or 3 different times.
If I had training, it would kick in now, but I haven't been trained.
Here's some ideas, right? If they pick Vayne, every silver bolts proc in a relevant team fight, big beans, and you build up to a real big beans.
Or
right?
someon locks in
There
Vayne.
you go.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's
It's a big beans.
We'll make it
decision.
work. We'll make it work.
That's
like
pretty
that
strong
one.
at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. The blade veins.
Absolutely.
Bob Ross paintbrush, Big Beans. Arcane Luna says drowning in the sauce.
I think that's great because you just don't know where you want to say it.
Yeah, and also on what context.
Oh, that's good. Give me 3 contexts, Jake.
So, like, if, like, you know, maybe they have too much money and they start drowning in the sauce, like, you know, when you have too much of a good thing.
Yep.
Like, I would argue that Mammoth last game,
Were
they were drowning in the sauce.
They were
Potentially, Bryce.
sauce all up the
Yeah,
nostrils and in the lungs.
You know, maybe, like, there's a situation where someone, like, there's a 5 AD comp, and then all of a sudden your top laner
Yeah.
just builds all armor when they didn't need it. They needed some more health because diminishing returns. They're just drowning in the sauce. I think that I could work this into my cast.
I reckon you should.
Yeah,
I'm
I am very confident in the drowning in the sauce.
And then finally, we've got @SteelStringsOs who says, how has nobody suggested renaming team fights to punch-ons? But I think that we asked for catchphrases, I think the catchphrase should be, how has nobody suggested renaming team fights to punch-ons? I think
As you wanna
if you
say
do that,
all
you have
of
to say
that.
the whole thing. And in fact, she also added an angry emoji face, so I think you have to say that out loud.
There's also, because we have some Kiwi players as well. One thing that I did learn in my long stint living with some Kiwis is that they call punch-ons one-outs a lot. So you could even throw that one in there.
What the hell's a one
What's
out?
a
A
one-out?
punch-on. I just said that.
Yeah,
What's a
no,
punch-on?
yeah,
How
no,
does
but
one out come to be? The phrase
yeah.
one out. Is that a very one-sided like?
Sounds like
one
a
and
cricket
done?
term,
It's
really.
never like, I don't know how to explain. Like when I played football, if I had
I'm
an
a
argument with
pacifist.
someone, they would say run at me, right?
Yeah.
And that's like a one-on-one, like you'd sprint at them. And
See,
Right, okay, that makes
where I'm
sense.
from, we used to call them debates.
Oh, okay, yeah, from that preppy upbringing.
Yeah,
you have.
absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
And we used to, stand behind lecterns and chastise each other.
How times have changed, Jack. I mean, you used to be such a clean, wholesome boy, and now you don't even wear socks.
I have socks on.
Crispy Coolwells in the chat says, is that Daniel Radcliffe? I assume you're talking about me, but I'm going to say that's your submission for a catchphrase. So, Benji, you also have to say that. So, we've got, they just got beaten like a Bob Ross paintbrush. Big Beans, you have to say it 3 times throughout the broadcast. We've got, how has nobody suggested renaming team fights to punch-ons, angry emoji face, and is that Daniel Radcliffe? So those are the 4
Okay.
catchphrases.
I think
you
is
gotta
that
work
Daniel
into this.
Radcliffe can be worked in nicely.
Are we
as well.
assigning these to
very much
people? Like, does Benji have specific ones?
These
Oh,
are all for
I'm just
Benji
gonna
in,
do them
the
all.
next game.
Yep.
Because
Okay.
you're not casting the next game, right? It's Benji and Bryce. So, yeah, that's it.
So while you're writing them down, do you want us to go through the lineups or something so we can get to that game?
Let's jump quickly to tipping, and then we'll get to the lineups.
Okay.
Because, Jake, unfortunately, it's not looking very good for you.
No, I've lost.
You've
So
lost.
That's fine.
I don't think you can actually win.
I've got 2 wrong, and everyone else has got not 2 wrong. Therefore, I've lost.
well,
That makes sense.
Like, Pyra could equally lose, but he's not here, so I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
+1 to the Pyra tally.
yeah,
Right
though,
here.
that
yeah.
tally is growing. Now, the next game, of course, we've got Avant versus Chiefs. Rusty, you're putting it all on the line. Let's quickly run through, Jake, through the AV lineup.
Yeah, did it yesterday. It's going to be Coach Kai. Of course, Chippy's had a great performance yesterday in the top lane. Sybil in shock, so Sybil playing back-to-back games this weekend, Gunkrab and Aladoric. Some would be questioning the merits of a 6-man roster if you only play 5 players, Rusty. Obviously, I would not do that because, unbiased pundit on this couch, but definitely could raise the question whether there actually is a 6-man roster.
And it is important to point out who the 6th man is for those at home. We didn't get a big chance to do that yesterday. Swaith, the 2nd member that exists in the jungle role.
See, I didn't know because you just haven't played
Well,
it
that's
yet.
why I'm saying it
All
out
right.
loud, mate.
All right, no worries.
But yes, he is the sub of the team. He's not technically the sub. They swap and they alternate all the time for very good reasons.
All the time.
And that's why
Never.
We've played 2 games now.
Yeah, and 2 Sybil games. That's what I'm saying. You can't say you alternate all the time. At best, you alternate sporadically at the moment.
That's that debate upbringing that he was just referencing.
We're about to have
earlier.
1 out.
That's just so annoying. He's so.
Yes, he's
It's just a rough time. Come on, bud.
He's worked out because there's a lot of chili he needs to
I
eat.
can't believe that you would call a friend annoying.
Sorry, man. I apologize.
Chiefs are up next. We've got. Oh, sorry. I need to end. Bryce was not being serious there at all. That felt like a somber moment, and it wasn't. Chiefs line up next. Rusty, talk us through it.
Volt's the coach of the Chiefs, Swiper in the top lane. Almost finished with his full sleeve too, I might add. A couple hours left. Only is the jungler. Only in Claire, of course, the legacy duo moved over. Ray's the AD carry, and Ayla the upstart, the new player in there in the support role.
And I have never seen someone complain about a tattoo as much as Swiper complains about his.
It is
Really?
infected.
In my life.
Why?
It is infected.
He can't do full sessions. He starts getting a lot of pain and sweat. He pulls out all the time. And then he just, even when it's done, he just complains about the fact that he can't take care of it properly and it gets infected all the
I
time.
will say
So-
one thing about this is that he usually does 4-hour sittings. I understand that. 8.5 in one go. He can do it. I don't know why he's
Mate, I don't mind done in one go as well.
not talking about myself here. I'm just saying 4 hours isn't the most long tattoo session.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Toughen up, you coward. No one likes you. But it's a lovely tattoo. Of course, people, someone that people do like, Raze, you can watch him and his POV stream on Twitter. That's
This
a
is
good
a
one.
good one. Team fighting is insane.
That's good.
This would be a very fun POV to watch.
It will be a very fun one. So if you head to the OPL Twitter page, you can check it out there. And you're about to check out Ejim and Benji at the desk.
Thanks, Nick Boy. I'm here with Bryce, EJ, and Paul for our final game of week 1.
Yep.
It is Chiefs versus Avant. Both these teams 1-0. So Bombers are 2-0 right now.
Okay.
The winner of this game will join them at 2-0.
And then we've got the best 2 teams in the league.
for week 1. And then that's
Yeah.
all really matters, really, because from here, it's just spots are locked and you go to playoffs after a few skirmishes.
After a few skirmishes.
A couple of skirmishes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. I like that. This game means a lot to these 2 teams. It's going to be super interesting coming into it. AV, of course, with like a surprise victory over Order. This is
Thank you,
is
Nick
the
Boy.
backwards-
This is my my list of. This is well written. I can actually read this.
Did he hand that to you this way so the camera couldn't see his disgusting, filthy
I
handwriting?
will shame him
That
on
is
camera.
barely
there you go.
legible. That is barely legible.
You know, I can't complain. It's actually better than my
That's-
handwriting. So
that
you know.
is, you got a
We'll
tough
get to
ass,
that.
man,
I won't go through them in champ select because that's a cop out. I can
Yeah,
sit
agree.
here and read them out. I'm going to save them for the game. I'm going to go hard mode. We're into champ select for game number 1 between these 2 guys. They played 3 times throughout the split.
Yep.
AV versus Chiefs. I'm actually excited for this game. I think it's going to be a good
Yeah.
one.
Certainly, there's a couple of standard bands coming out. I feel like I've said that in all the games I've cast. I've been getting the
But
the
they're like
standard
this in all the games,
bands.
though. Like
Well,
every
somewhat. I feel like there's been a few outliers here and there, but we expect these picks to be taken off the table for a lot of these teams. They just want to play normal League of Legends.
Yeah, let's pouch through them. We've got Aurelia, Akali, Galio hitting the bench, Avant not wanting to play against them, and Urgot, Cassiopeia, and Aatrox for the Chiefs.
So, Lucian, up and available.
Yep.
Sejuani is going to be the first pick instead.
Seju's
We've
first
seen
pick, yeah.
a couple of teams do this with the early priority on the Sejuani. Blue side first pick means that Chiefs will have the option of Lucian. I know personally, and just from experience in the league, you can see Raze is a big Lucian player. He's not known as like a laning AD carry, but Lucian can be very good in team fights. Raze and Ayla have been working together for a little bit of time now. Obviously went to Korea, have played a single game on stage, but I expect it to probably be a Sion lock-in with the Lucian as well.
They'll get better as the split goes on. Sion, like you mentioned, picked up most likely for Swiper. I'm always very skeptical these days because a lot of role swaps are happening, a lot of champions going to weird lanes, and Kindred locked in for only.
Okay, so almost 0 Lucian priority here from the Chiefs. They want the better jungle matchup. We saw how potent that could be last game into Gravitas. Babip had a bit of a field day on that one and had a very solid performance. Only's been a long-time Kindred player as well, and he's been a carry jungler for a very long time. Of course, he can play the tanks. Professional players can play most things in the meta at all times, but had big proficiency on stuff like the Nidalee, more so towards the carry junglers. A Kindred, definitely in his wheelhouse, so makes a lot of sense here. Very good matchup.
Yep, Lucian locked in for Avant, falling through to the 3rd sort of pick phase here, which is unusual. Has been a bit of a priority so far, but they're going to grab it up now.
Makes sense. Just a strong champion in general. Guncrab on your screen right now. He can be a weird bot laner. I hesitate to call him
What
an
about
AD
weird?
carry because he just plays weird stuff. Like
Like champions or
yes,
style?
he thrived in the meta when like mages, when AD carries like FBI
Okay.
were getting real pissed off at League of Legends because like Swain and Raze was playing Ornn in the bottom lane. Like Guncrab is like, hell yeah, brother. Give me Mordekaiser, give me Heimerdinger. So like to see Chiefs, I feel like maybe like playing that little game here, like they want to play something whack. They want to play these sort of weird counter picks. They are blue side, so it's kind of harder, but to give them the Lucian, obviously they have plans into that pick.
Yep.
So it makes a lot of sense.
A Thresh being locked up to complement that Lucian, the good old-fashioned wife steal lane.
Yeah.
And Alistair being locked in there by Claire, most likely for Isla. Now, for you, is this a sort of, you see the support get picked, you don't want to get targeted down this next ban phase, you grab your support now, or do you think they're trying to save something?
I feel like you obviously have the options. I feel like AD carries, the AD carry pool, just in general, more so than any other role, you can look at a mid laner and be like, oh, he doesn't play this sort of stuff. This mid laner can't play Zed Yasuo. AD carries, they can just play every single AD carry. There's not that much variance. Of course, when you put in other style of champions, sure, it varies up a bit, but there's a bunch of things that will do fine into the Lucian lane. Thresh lock-in blind, I feel like, is a very brave choice. Alidoric is a good Thresh player, has played a whole lot of it in his time. It's a pretty ballsy move. Some would hesitate to say that he's got big beans to pick that one. And
Doesn't count.
yeah, it doesn't count. It's
Doesn't
Champs
count.
League. The Alistar is a fairly good pickup here for Ayla.
There we go. Last ban phase coming through. Poppy and Jax hitting the bench. Obviously, Avant yet to pick their solo laners, so trying to narrow down the pool there. And from the Avant side, locking off the Kai'Sa and the Blanc, because it looks like, well, definitely Chiefs looking for their AD carry and their mid laner.
And this sort of speaks to that point, right, where they only threw one ban at the AD carry pool. You can only do so much to pinch the AD carry pool. Obviously, they were scared of like a Kai'Sa getting through. She has shown on stage. She's
FBI
obviously
early was fantastic on the champion.
she's just a very good champion, but specifically on stage games, I feel like Kai'Sa has been incredibly successful. So they get rid of that one, but then they feel that they're opened up enough to get rid of something like LeBlanc. Of course, they're going to have to show their mid laner ultimately before Chiefs, so they will always have counter pick on red side, and that's just what's happening.
Here's what's happening. Ray's locking in Ezreal. I mean, if they ban the Ezreal, Ray's has got a huge champion pool. You're not doing too much damage there, but LeBlanc might sort of give a hint as to what they want to run in the mid lane, maybe.
Yeah.
You have to show it here. They got both their solo laners.
Oh,
There's
okay.
Gangplank locked in.
We'll touch on that in a second. I want to touch on the LeBlanc because
Yep.
it's a very scary 2v2. Like if you blind pick something and that is LeBlanc can play into, and then you have a Kindred, that is just disastrous, right? To touch on the Gangplank, this is something we've seen internationally. We've seen it in the LCK into these hard tanks. Has been around for a long time. If that's a Fiora, then all of this goes out the window.
Looks like a Fiora. No,
Okay, that makes
Syndra?
a lot more sense.
Syndra locked in. So mid lane Syndra, Gangplank in the top against Sion.
Gangplank Chippies has been a long-time Gangplank player in his
Oh,
stint.
yeah.
Direwolves, he was one of the best, had the best win rate, I will say. Win rates, when you're talking about like almost undefeated teams,
Who's been
start
better
to mean
on
less and
Gangplank
less.
than Chippies and Oceania?
I feel like Mimic is comparable. Maybe
Okay.
not win rate rise, but like his Gangplank specifically.
But he's top tier Chippies. So this is a good pick for him. He's feeling confident.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So it's obviously like going to be a Klepto Gangplank, I would assume, into the Scion. Maybe he goes Grass, maybe it's a little bit harder than I've stated, but he's just getting that like free lane. This is a blind pick tank for Swiper, something you expect. He is the guy that will just pick something for the boys. Big grin on his face. He's happy to play the Scion, you know?
Oh, when is Swiper not smiling? No.
Yeah,
Last pick,
true.
though, was Vladimir for Claire, so he's playing the Vladimir into the Syndra. Now, looking over these two lineups, what jumps out at you here? Is anything in particular you want to call out?
AV have a very hard composition.
Okay.
This is much similar to Order's game versus AV, but flipped. AV have the Gangplank, they have the Syndra. They do have a pure tank at a Sejuani, but if this comp falls behind, Chiefs can just run over you. Yeah, Alistar gets very tanky very quickly, as does Sion, and they have very self-sufficient AD
Good engage
just
too.
carries in general. Like a Syndra can be denied by, first of all, Lamb's Respite from the Kindred, but also Vlad Pool. Also, Ezreal can build into like the Seraphs. He gets a lot of shielding, more so than literally any other AD carry. He also has the safety of Arcane Shift. Like, there's a lot of tools for Chiefs to deny the one-person picks, which is what Thresh wants, which is what Syndra wants, and is often what Sejuani wants as well.
So how do they win them? We've talked about, like, obviously they can shut down all these picks here, but, like, what are they looking to do? Are they split push them with Chippies? Are they looking to just scale into late game?
Well, it's interesting, because I feel like AV, more often than not, I expect them to play towards Chippies, but I don't think that's what they're going to do this game. This is, well, not necessarily a weak side bottom lane for Chiefs, but it's Lucian Thresh into like an Ezreal Alistar. You expect them to look for those kill opportunities, and Chippies just wants to play the like, I'm okay on an island in the top lane. It's not like he's losing. If he's going even on Gangplank, that's a very good situation, right? That's almost perfect. He has a very expensive build. Once he gets those items, he can be very influential, but certainly for AV, this is kind of the flipped coin in my head of how I view them as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. And to come to give us a bit of insight into the Chiefs draft here, we have got Volt, who is the coach for the Chiefs. Volt, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
How do you feel after that draft? You seen the run to the Rift now? Are you feeling confident?
I'm very happy with how we've come out of this draft. We're winning every team fight with this comp, in my opinion, and that's what we were looking for in draft. So,
Okay, so when you were drafting, is this kind of you came in today with a plan? Obviously, did you have to adjust
You'd
the
hope
plan,
so.
or I would assume you did?
Yeah.
Is this kind of what you thought you'd end up with a draft in this game?
their bans are very similar to yesterday, so we got kind of what we expected. But the first pick Sejuani is a little bit weird. Some teams are doing that, some teams aren't.
Yeah.
But we adapted a little bit with the other Kindred. So
Obviously, sorry to cut you off. So obviously, scrim culture is confidential, but I feel like this early in the split, something that I've noticed, and I'm wondering if you agree, is like different teams scrim different teams, and then you have like teams that are willing to just first pick Sejuani. You have teams with like weird priorities on X picks. Like, do you think that plays a very big role in like the chaotic nature of the first couple of weeks?
Oh yeah, like yesterday against Direwolves, they first picked Akali, which is something that no teams are doing in our scrims.
Yeah.
And then like today Sejuani is also another like really odd thing to see. So it's just, I don't know, we're coming in a little bit blind, I guess, into what these teams are playing. But that's kind of natural because you don't scrim the
First
teams that you're going to
week,
play. And it's the first week, so you haven't seen anything that they're doing beforehand. It's sort of just, we got to adapt on the fly.
Yeah. Okay, and I want to ask about you. Obviously, like, we have history on a team together a long time ago, but like, how is it coming back into League? Because for a time, like, you weren't around the scene anymore. Like, what's it like coming back into an organization you were working with previously?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, like readapting and relearning the game, sort of. Because I took probably about a year off of watching competitive League, or I played it a little bit, but mostly took a year off of watching just to finish my Uni completely, came back and did Diacobs to learn quite a lot out of just like how the game had changed. It changed quite a bit. And then obviously coming back this year, they've also changed like turret plating and stuff. So it's almost every year you have to relearn it a bit anyways. So it's been reasonably easy to adapt, I think.
Sure. One more question before I let you go, actually. I'm kind of curious, because in the draft phase, we've seen Lucian be a bit of a priority pick or ban so far. You let it drop past. Is that because you don't value the pick or have a counter pick? I don't want to go too much into strategy, but do you not value it too much? Like, I'm just curious about that decision.
We're just happy with our lane matchup that we got. So that's the only real thought process.
A lot of confidence in what you currently planned out, so that makes sense. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck in the game, and thanks for coming on.
Cheers.
That was a very well answered question. That was. Oh my
Who's
god.
going to flash smite from Only?
What?
Wow, he just wanted that. Did he get it?
Oh, that's a Chad jungler.
Wow, that is man mode. that is animal instincts. That is big beans.
Damn, that's. Oh, I respect that. Sybil, there's no way that he expects that to happen. You see the Kindred walking like, oh yeah, I can get this.
How do you feel like when you're that jungler, right? I know you're not a jungler,
Yeah.
but you're feeling it.
bad,
Comes
bro.
in, you
That
get like
feels-
alpha'd, like
That is not a good
gotta
feeling.
shake you a little bit, yeah?
Like, it's kind of, in a sense, Kindred like wants to be able to press around the Sejuani. He just blew his flash for the Scuttle Crab, so like. That, like, it's not necessarily like a super bad thing. You're civil. You're like, hey, Kindred has no flash, relatively for free, right? She does get a camp lead. They have double scuttle control, so anything that Sybil wanted to do early is now very hard to get done. If he wants to look for ganks, they should have control of their lanes. You heard how confident Volt was in the lane matchups they got, so this was something that they were expecting. But that is a hard commit from Only. Imagine flashing and you don't get that smite. Like, Sybil smites it.
yeah. So he did.
You
flash
look like
for
an
it.
idiot.
Well, yeah, he flashed for it, right? He's a jungler, not in the lane, but like, what can Avant do really anything to punish that? Like, is it just like, the ganks kind of have that fail? They have that follow up where you flash after it, like, or can you actually try and make something out of that as Avant?
Well, like, absolutely. In a general sense, like, you blow a flash, you want to punish that, right? But
Yeah.
in this situation, it was Kindred during the interview. He got the bot Scuttle Crab, and then path top, cleared his Raptors, and then went to the top crab and met Sybil there, took it. So they get both. And during that time, you see Alidoric walked up. He placed that ward that's like just over the Grump wall. But by the time they had enough priority to go for that play, Only had already walked to his bot side jungle and hit the Scry's Bloom into his head. So it's kind of like the window to look for Kindred and start making aggressive plays. Because in that situation, you're like, yeah, we want to start punishing this Kindred. Like, she shouldn't be able to farm for free. We have CC pick champs in the Thresh, in the Syndra. Like, these are early tools that you can get stuff done with. But the timing for Chiefs, like, was honestly pretty good there. Like, this is a very weird thing to say, but this was like a relatively decent situation to flash smite the Scuttle Crab away.
There we go.
That's
calculated.
yeah, that's smarts, bro. That's yeah.
So moving on to this game a little bit, we've had a quiet early game besides that excitement with the Splash Smite. Where are you looking if you're a jungler in this game? Like, what's the lane you really want to start focusing on if you're these players as Sybil walks into River?
Yeah, well, I think bot lane is probably the most volatile, just in general. Like, Lucian Thresh want to be forcing themselves onto the Chiefs bottom lane. Mid is harder to gank. They both have, like, singular individual... Hold that thought.
Well, actually, Isla and Ray's doing a lot of damage to Gunkrab. Looks like the Thresh Alidoric ran into River for a second. And they got a bit of engaged, a lot of damage. Didn't quite get the kill. Gunkrab now got to be a bit safe in this bot lane.
Yeah, just didn't respect it. Ayla didn't even have to burn Flash. So Gunkrab just stepped way too close, got comboed by Ayla. We saw Threshers up the river. He was trying to get the Scuttle Crab for Sybil, which they do get. So they get the river control that they wanted, but at the cost of a heal and complete lane priority in the bottom side.
Yeah,
because
they
this
do
is what I was
Ignite.
saying. Like, this is the matchup where they honestly want to be forcing. If Ezreal is getting through a Lucian lane completely unscathed, it's probably a bad time.
Oh, hook onto Ray's. Just going to slow him down for a moment there.
And mid, you can't really do anything till 6. Because how this gank will probably work is like Syndra goes for the stun, you force out the pull, then Sejuani can ulti. Of course, Clay has Flash, which is like a tool he can use. He can potentially outplay, he can potentially dodge one of those CCs.
Here
Pre-6
comes
though, they're
Sybil
still
coming
looking.
in. Sybil coming in, and there he gets the knock off. Stun, pull going down. No CC, looks like the Bip just in position. Oh, Only, sorry. Wow, I'm used to Chief the Bip, unfortunately. Some of my names, but just sort of pushes him away. No flash pop there, so just sort of walks that one out.
But that's exactly what we expect. And if Sejuani is level 6, then you burn the Flash. Right? Like, she gets in, Syndra stun blows the pull, and then you can follow up after that point. Of course, Only was here. He walked up, shepherded Clay out of lane, so he doesn't have to blow a summoner. But if that's a level 6 Sejuani, then that gank is possibly doable. It does get Syndra, like, he was being shoved in somewhat. Shock is up like 10 CS-ish in the mid lane, which is a good situation. Vladimir not necessarily the the strongest this early, right? He doesn't even have his first base, has the DMAT to start building up and help himself with his early clears against someone with that pressure in the Syndrome.
Swiper just looking for a little bit of poke here, trying to push Chippies off this wave a little. This top lane should be pretty uneventful, assuming no major mistakes or jungle pressure. Mid lane here is, like we mentioned, sort of a very interesting place. Ganks, like you said, have to be repeated, really. Pull summoners and spells out.
And I feel like there are some interesting rune choices to talk about.
Okay.
Of course, Sion, out of most of the tanks, or maybe probably all of the tanks, is the best blind pick, because, well, in this case, it wasn't a blind pick. Oh, actually, hold that.
Oh, actually, Claire getting knocked on. There's the pull going down. Still has the flash. He's going to flash away. Dodges the hook. People coming through. First blood coming through. Shock gets it. Actually, Aladoric takes it in the end.
Yeah. Just a very nice, well-coordinated gank. Flash play in from Aladoric. They burn the pull. Shock has to follow up with the kill, and Clay goes down. He blows everything. Ayla certainly has dive threat here onto Gunkrab if he steps up once more. Remember, he doesn't have the heal from the earlier play.
Yep, Ava get the first blood, but Raze does knock off 2 turret plates there. So that's sort of what they've returned there. First blood probably a little bit better. More gold, but not for nothing.
Yeah, but as I was saying, right, Sion probably has the best lane, which is why he's probably the most blind pickable. And that's the reason Chippies has to go for the grass, because he wants to be, like, being able to heal up this poke. Sion will just walk at you, pop the shield, hit you with a smash, and there's not really much you can do if you're like a close-range farming champion. So he doesn't have the luxury of Klepto this game, but Swiper, big swips. Normally you see Grasp into like the melee matchups for Sion, but then it's Glacial if you want the team fight. But I think specifically because it's like Thresh Hook, Sejuani is probably the biggest indicator that he wants the cleanse. So he goes Unsealed Spellbook to be able to cycle through the summoner spells, but this means that hold that.
Goes wide, Isla for the play, does not find it though. Good play.
But to cap it off, yeah, he wants the cleanse to be able to deal with these things in the side lane, because if he gets picked on too much, GP can run rampant.
Yep. So the problem right now is obviously in that gank that actually was successful, Claire did lose his flash, so that he's still even more vulnerable now after that one. The spot lane obviously a little bit back and forth. They've got to keep an eye on that Alistair. Get a good engage onto Gunkrab and can do a lot of damage very quickly. But, oh, he actually hits it right there. The lantern goes down, pulls him to safety.
And you saw just moments before, like Aladoric in this support matchup, it's actually very hard as the Thresh. It used, personally, and I feel like most pro players would have liked Thresh into Alistar pre-rework, before he had the stun on his E. Back when it was just a heal, you could just sit there whacking him in lane. He could never really headbutt you because you would just like flay it away. But nowadays, like if you flay the headbutt, oftentimes he'll still be in range to hit you with a slap. So you often have to predict it, and that's exactly what Aladoric did in that situation. So as soon as Ayla walks up, the Thresh kind of feels like it's necessary to just throw the flay immediately, and it's kind of a rough situation in terms of like the blind pick Thresh, and Ayla gets the Alistar matchup he wants. It's hard to force, in my opinion.
Oh, Chippy's getting collapsed upon here, only going in for some damage. Just flash out. Flash up by. Oh my god, he's going in. Swiper hits a slow. Chippy's is low there, diving the turret.
Gets it.
Big beans, that's a kill for only.
Oh, and in the mid lane as well.
Mid lane, Sybil going in and just picks up the Clay. No flash. He's dead. That's 3 in the middle. They're going to push this turret down.
Yeah, the instant trade. The hard commit from almost everyone. Double flashes burnt from Only and Swiper in the top side, but Claire, you already mentioned, Summonerless in the mid lane, tries to use the ulti but got hooked before the pull, and they're just going to be trading plates on these turrets. Does Shock stick around? I expect he will just look for the recall.
Does look for the recall. Swiper is sticking around though. He has got the faster back with his ult. Teleport coming out as well, so almost gets that second plating, but Chippies does TP to stop the push. So even though Chiefs made a nice play in the top lane there, AV do answer. And I've seen a few games this weekend, and often the teams that trade these kind of kills aren't looking too good if they're the proactive ones. If you're losing something across the map, that is. But we'll see if AV can continue that as the game goes on. They have a slight gold lead right now, Chippies.
This is a cheeky play. Swiper hasn't recalled.
It's feigned to the back.
Babib is behind him.
Oh, here comes Swiper ults and just completely misses him. This is still on. The flash goes down. Chippies puts out his barrel. Puts damage on the Swiper. Here comes Only. Going for the repeat kill. And Chippies is in all sorts of trouble. He gets taken out.
And this is absolutely worst case scenario for the GP. That was a backless Sion after the last kill. He blows his TP, immediately comes back to lane and dies again. Just such a good read from the top side of the map from the Chiefs, and this GP pick is going to have a very rough time from here on out.
They are playing top side, so Only up 2 kills now. That's where the power is going right now. Swiper's getting a bit of priority, but Only's getting the kill gold. He's going to be able to turn that into lead across the map, potentially.
And that's where you want it. You want it on the Kindred. Sion, he gets the assist gold. Like, he's got his Bramble vest and starts building towards hold that.
Goes down, Aladoric going in. Ray's getting caught. Isla in the back trying to cause disturbance. Lucian getting ignited and stunned down. In fact, the trade there going heavily in favor of the Chiefs.
Yeah, they get the health trade. Ignite does come out, so kill threat certainly goes down significantly for the Ezreal Alistar lane. Ayla, I feel like, expected Gunkrab to continue taking the Lantern, so he wanted the Ignite early before the heal could come out, but Gunkrab just ends up dashing away. He does have the Bilgewater Cutlass, of course, so Bork user means the laning phase is more forgiving. You get that lifesteal just by clearing out the creeps. You see he's almost at like 75% HP, so it will be fine relatively soon, but certainly interesting back and forth between the two bottom lanes.
There is, and the pressure right now is on Chippies. He's down Summoners, he's down Teleport, he's just died twice. He's even in CS, whereas at Gangplank, that's very unusual. Usually they're a bit ahead. So got to keep an eye on where Kindred goes now, because if there's more pressure top lane, that could turn into a terrible game for Chippies.
You have to say, though, like, GP is a good champion to be behind on. You expect to not have pressure in the lane, and you expect to not want to play around the GP. He can still sit in a side lane, and he can ulti team fights, and his ulti is super obnoxious, and he will be able to farm himself with the doubloons, not the Klepto, back into the game somewhat. It's on Chiefs now with this, not necessarily gold lead, but with the advantage, the item lead they have.
Sybil looking for something, they're going in. Stun goes down. Claire pulls the ult. They're going to follow it up, though. Flash goes down. He gets out of the way. Claire does a lot of dodging, and his beautiful steps avoid that kill there, but he does escape.
Flash gets him out of the last orb that shocked through, so the ulti did not do enough damage. If the Flash didn't come through, that would definitely would have been a super dead Vladimir. Could have been 0-3, so that would have been disastrous. Chiefs do find themselves on track to the Air Dragon. Claire's turret is getting dangerously low, but it's not like they're getting nothing for their trouble.
Air Dragon goes down over to the Chiefs. That is the first Dragon of the game, but honestly not the most impactful one. We'll see what happens as the game continues, as they return to the bot lane. In mid lane, Claire's stuck around. Vladimir has a lot of sustain, can stick around lanes, even when most champions need to back here.
Yep. Also because Syndra, like, without the ulti, is realistically not going to have much kill threat unless you're disastrously low. Shock is fairly low mana, and Sybil is on the bottom side of the map, so it's going to be at least a minute before he gets that blue buff. I could see him looking for a recall to complete his first item, which is exactly what he's going for now, so Claire feels that safety. The bottom lane is showing on the map. It's not like GP is in any position to roam towards mid, so
GP's sitting in lane for a while, I think.
I will just say, Gunkrab just absolutely denied Aladoric the Relic Shield stack, by the way. That hurt to watch. He went for the hook on the minion, would have been an execute. 80 carries, it's like, nah bro, that's mine.
One less potion for him when he backs.
Yeah, it sucks.
Chiefs moving their attention to the top lane, getting vision over the Rift Herald. The next objective they'll look to take here. They're also going to move in and take this blue buff. Top side of the map here with Chippies being down early is kind of allowing the Chiefs to push in a little bit. On the other side of the map, at the bottom, you expect Avant to get a bit more pressure there, but they're really not in position to start pushing forward and threatening that bottom jungle.
They have done work in the early game. They're picking on Claire. That turret is incredibly low. We're now after 14 minutes, so there's no plates, but I feel like 4 of those plates were gone regardless. So Chippies is getting picked on. You'd much rather, if you're trading your GPs like gold and pressure for their Vladimirs, that feels good. I feel like the bad news story is the fact that both of AV's kills, pretty suboptimal targets. They've gone onto the Thresh, right? Like,
Shutdown got on them too now.
It's because it's an interesting conversation. Like, as a support, like, getting the kill feels very good. If it gives you a big buy, hold
Syndra's
that.
caught. Syndra's ulted. Shock gets ulted by the Claire. Claire's going in. Flash pull over the top. Oh, that's a lot of damage. And Raze from bot lane picks up the kill cross map.
Downtown snipes him with the ulti. That feels real good.
You know, when I look
tier.
at Chiefs, I do see them often try and leverage towards Raze and get him ahead. That's a beautiful setup. Just put the mid laner in the right position.
That
And
was intended. That was the intended play. Oh, that feels bad. There we go. Picks it up in the back end. They have access to both blue buffs, so only has one. Claire has one.
that kill on Syndra, I think, was pretty impactful, though, because that mid lane was not very good for Claire so far.
Copping an absolute beating. Does have enough gold to go back and finish his proto belt, so he has got an item. Merc Treads and blue buff means that he is going to have priority for the time being. Of course, Syndra, just being dead, burnt both summoners and still died to a very timely roam from Ayla. The fact that Ezreal is one of the best AD carries to just leave alone in a lane. Like, he has that wave clear, especially now that he's gone, I want to say Frozen Fist, but Riot Games has made that the upgrade of the Ornn item, so Iceborne Gauntlet. It does open up Ayla to look for exactly those plays, and being able to capitalize is very good.
Yeah, looks like there's a bit of posturing around this bot side here. A lot of vision being spotted out. There was a bit of a spot on Sybil. He's forced back with his team. Isla just going in, hits the ult, runs forward, looking for Aladoric, looking for someone. Raze from the side, coming forward, doing a lot of damage to Aladoric. Here comes Swiper. Big Boy splits off the support. Sybil at the front doing a lot of damage to Kindred. Forster ult, looking to turn this one around the left-hand side here. On the right side, Ezreal gets a shutdown onto Thresh, and Chiefs are currently 1-up.
Yeah, just the one pick. Flash into the wall. Feels bad for Alidoric, and he does die anyway. Chippy's wants absolutely nothing to do with that. As soon as that flash was failed, AV just sacked it. He is the guy with the lantern. There's nothing that they can do to save him. Chippy's has Cannon Barrage, but he elects not to use it. So Swiper rotating down and getting absolutely nothing means that Chippies is getting himself a little bit back into this game, bit by bit. Feels good, but Chiefs, certainly the kill. This bot turret's going to go down, and the fact that it gives Claire some time to just push out mid lane for free definitely feels nice.
Yeah, the one thing I do want to point out here, and something that's not really been the focus of this game, is Raze, right? He's been farming quite well in this game. He's picked up 2 kills. One of them was actually a shutdown on the support.
Yep.
And he's actually in a pretty good position as far as gold goes. He's going to start looking to open this game up. His bot turrets are open. He can start rotating the mid. AV, though, are starting up the Rift Herald, looking to take this down. But looks like Chiefs want to contest.
Certainly a brave start here. No Sejuani ulti means the lockdown from AV is
Only over the wall. They're
very
getting collapsed
hindered.
upon Claire on the right. They've got to be careful this one. It's 4v4, but AV are in the middle. There's the smite going down. It is taken away by Sejuani, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get the buff. Swiper over the wall, but Blast Plant does go away. And Alidoric caught out here. He's in all the wrong place at the wrong time. He's going to get taken out for a second time. Kill is going to be given over to Raze.
just a very nice cleanup. Oh, AV there.
I'm looking to try and get the buff here. AV trying to push in. Isla ult and saves his life as he pushes the team out. There's a 1-for-1 trade. Sejuani going down. Only takes out Lucy on the back line. AV are all over the place here. They're trying to go in and do all sorts of things, but they're not acting as a cohesive team. Swiper pushes forward and Raze picks up his second kill. Chippy's trying to escape. They've got the pinch though, only coming from the backside. He's forcing him as a turret. That Chippy's is dead again. Been saying it all game. I want to ask you a question. How the hell has no one suggested renaming these team fights to goddamn Punch-On's angry emoji face?
Was that a punch-on? That was a 1-by-1 half
That
commit.
was a one-sided Punch-On.
This was the Rift Herald for Ace trade. And unfortunately, the Rift Herald didn't even get picked up in the end of that one. So AV there.
They tried to go back for it.
Yeah, they commit to the start of the Rift Herald. And that was almost a disaster. They already lost the fight. They could have just like suicided someone into the play, but they kind of bait themselves into Alistar. He's tanky, but like he takes a very long time to die. They bait themselves into the fight. They think Chiefs are chasing us in the mid lane. They pick on Thresh. He was the first one to die, and they thought they could pick off a few kills. Unfortunately, that is absolutely not the case. Chiefs pick up the ace. Claire's getting some kills. He's absolutely back in the game. Now they're setting up the Mountain Drake.
AV are rotating over. I think that Chiefs might just be in the right place at the right time here. They do blue scry, but that is 1,000. Oh, he's going in. He doesn't quite get it though. Lantern's out. But look on the backside. Alice is ulted in. Hit the... Oh, that's his knock-up, and that is one dead. Thresh down for the attempted steal.
And that is such a nice read from Ayla. On the back end of that play, they know Sejuani's sticking around. They had the vision. And you know with a Thresh comp, the jungler will just willy-nilly jump in.
Isla's in the wrong spot here. Sybil comes out, whiffs the ult. Only an Isla in a bad place. Shot coming forward. Waiting for Alice to run out of health. Only pops down his ult the last possible second. Raze flashes forward into his death. Syndra blows him up. Isla's down as well. And look at that. Shock is online. And this game is suddenly online.
And I didn't see the number, but that was a thick shutdown. Raze just burnt heal, flash, and his life to give over to AV.
He's
so
smiling
goal.
in the camera there.
Yeah, I mean, what can... It's better than being pissed off, because, I mean, that's a play that makes you pissed off.
I mean, he could have
Smiling-
flashed back.
Smiling is probably the better outcome.
Okay.
After you've just entered a kill, entered a very large shutdown to the enemy team. This gold lead handed back somewhat. It was probably in the realm of 500, 600, so he still has a 2k gold lead over his individual lane opponent, so he's definitely not behind, but he probably wasn't happy with that play.
No, those two kills actually were pretty big. That's a shutdown onto Raze, who was starting to get a little bit out of control. 5 and 1 Ezreal. It's going to be a bit of gold over to Syndra.
Yep.
Now that's where you want to start getting your kills, is on your mages. Start blowing some people up. Gold lead right now is 3,000 for Chiefs. They've got 2 dragons that aren't... They're good dragons, but they're not as impactful as 2 Infernos, for example.
Mountain is certainly the better of the two. As we just took a look at the gold, Syndra is where AV have the lead, and that's it. Chippy's is just under even. He is gangplank into a tank, so you kind of expect that, but this is like a 2,500 gold lead for the Chiefs, and Chippy's is even, so it feels okay. But Syndra is really where they need to start playing around if they can. Baron is live as we are past the 20-minute mark. Chiefs looking to set up in towards the mid lane, though.
Yep. That Baron is the next neutral objective on the map. There are quite a few turrets up still, that mid lane especially. Sybil actually very close here, looking for something, but Vision does go down and spots him out. Bit of positioning happening around here. Are we going to see an engage by either person? Sybil goes in immediately, blows up Isla. Oh, Pop, that is not the person you want to engage on. Chiefs immediately turn it around. Thresh does help them disengage though.
And that Ezreal ulti does a disgusting amount of damage. He's finished his Archangels, but hasn't quite upgraded yet. But still, that's a 3-item Ezreal before Sorks that just half health basically an entire team as they walked up that choke. And there was no way AV were going to commit further from that point.
No, Alice is not always who you want to engage on. Getting rid of his ult is nice. His ult will break the CC and also keep him alive for a while. So, you know, kind of got away with their lives. I think AV were a bit lucky there, actually. But Racing picking up red buff. Chiefs moving around. Now, this mid lane turret for AV is still alive. The tier 1. I mean, it's very hard for them to sort of push forward across the map here.
Yeah, it certainly is. Like, Swiper, every time he gets any sort of priority in the side lane, you can see he just floats towards the team. They want to break this mid turret. Claire's doing a nice job with a 1-3-1 right now. He's just shoving that wave in and then floating immediately. So you can tell this is exactly what Chiefs are looking for. They want to deny this vision. They want to set up, if they can break the turret, sure, but
they just start
Baron, no vision.
They go for it. No vision from Avant. They're doing it very quickly. Raises quite far ahead. You can see Avant moving over. That's 3k left. Are they going to fight it? Aladoric coming forward. Ward does go down. They spot it out. It's 1k left. They go forward. Red team gets Baron. Chiefs, can they disengage successfully? Claire's being caught. He's going to flash out. Looking to chase him down, but looks like Chiefs are going to get away. Sybil coming forward. Looking to turn it around. Big headbutt coming down to Aladoric. Only's coming in. He's tearing the team alive. Guncrab's caught out. He's dead. Shock gets flashed on by Swiper. He's going down as well. This team is falling apart. Baron buff at 3 kills.
And that is such a decisive turn from the rookie support for the Chiefs. Ayla, WQ flash into the backline, triple knock-up as Swiper TP's in. They get the Baron. They sneak it, AV caught napping, and now they're just going to break turrets everywhere.
You want that mid lane turret, you take a Baron, you kill 3 people. You're going to get that and change. They're going to push down this tier 2 here. Avant have not much to stop here. Sejuani and Gangplank left alive. They are not who's going to be problem. They're not going to be able to clear these minion waves. They might even keep pushing into the base here. Only putting the super minions top, and they are going to push in.
Chippy's just had to flush. Ayla found himself in combo range of the Gangplank, so Greeting a little bit too far forward once again. Chiefs, they're going to flash on the back end.
This is a great position for Chiefs here. Suddenly they burst 6,000 gold. It was 4,000 before that fight. Here we go.
We'll take another look. Look where Sejuani is on the map. This is Aladoric like trying to get Sejuani to the play, but it's too little too late. But this is the big turn. It's obviously communicated. The ward was just placed by Ayla going around that corner for Swiper to TP2 as he WQ flashes onto 3 members. That is such a sick turn on a play where they just snuck Baron, their health bars were low, and they wanted to just get the hell out of dodge, run away. That's incredible.
Yep, they could have disengaged. They were clear.
Yeah.
They saw that they could get more out of this. They're like, they're chasing too greedily. They're not very organized. If we organize up, if we reform slightly, we can re-engage and blow these guys up. And they did just that. They get a big lead from it. The Baron's 1 lead, but those kills matter. Mountain Dragon here. This is going to be their second for the game unless Avant can do something about this.
And normally you look at double Mountain Dragon, you're like, man, they're going to one-shot the Baron. But they already have the Baron, so who cares?
Cute attempt there with the charge and the pullback there. But unfortunately, Kindred just has the burst.
And I got cut off by a teamfight last time I said this, but every time they've tried to offhand contest with the Lantern and try and steal it, Ayla's around the corner ready to engage. When the Sejuani gets ripped back, if Aladoric isn't paying attention, that's an easy double knockup for the Alistar, and then they can just turn. This is an Ezreal. He can get over the wall. So can Kindred. Claire can't, but if you're starting that fight right, then it probably won't matter. Here we go.
Going forward. Guncrab's at the front line. He's caught out. He has to flash back, but he's already dead. The rest of the team, Avant here, trying to disengage. They're going to try and get away. Chippy's putting down the barrels, the big beans. That is a 1-team fight for Chiefs.
How many times you got that in?
3.
So that's the third.
That's the third.
Okay,
we're keeping track.
We're 2 for 2.
Doing 2 jobs.
Yeah, but that was a 4 versus 5 team fight.
Yeah, Claire was not there.
dead.
Claire is pushing top lane. This is looking terrible for Avant. Their base is sieged on 2 sides. Baron buff's still got a bit to go.
Gold lead sitting at 7,000 right now. Rotation as the wave crashes. AV really don't have any capacity to contest this one. Alistar starts with a Hex Slash, just kind of taunting them at this point. There's no way they're going to be able to step up. AV willing to sack this one.
Yep. It's like Chiefs do get the top inhibitor. AV not trying to put up any sizable defense yet, but they need to. You can't just let your Nexus die in these games. If you go over too much, you don't get a good fight at the end. They need to find that last stand. Where are they going to make it?
The second inhib is normally the play. You can give up 1 safely and stall decently well, especially with something like a Gangplank. He can kind of just one-hit waves once he starts getting items. But once you lose 2, the game becomes incredibly, incredibly difficult. So 7,000 gold lead fairly early. It's only 26 minutes. This is a first Baron game. where they've broken the inhib immediately. So we're not at second Baron. It's not like it's a late closeout, but Chiefs definitely firmly in control.
Yeah, we are at 27 minutes now. A lot of these games have been a bit faster. Obviously, the meta has shifted since we used to be getting old 40-minute games. I remember a couple of years ago.
We don't talk about last game, Benji.
Looks like it slowed down a little bit. Chiefs regrouping. You've got to imagine this next push here. They're going to want to maybe shove someone top and push someone into the base, threaten the flanks. They've got 2 turrets they can push down. Actually 3. They've still got the tier 2 in the bot lane to take out.
That certainly is an option. When you have a comp with a Vladimir, like you can push him through the top side of the base where you can just get him for free, where there is no turret. And if you have flash, you can just hard commit on the fight. This is an Alistar, this is a Scion comp, so you can go for the full-out hard commit dive. And Chiefs, honestly, they would be that team. They have been in the past, and even with a change-up of roster, I feel like it certainly somewhat stylistically comes from Swiper and Raze, and those guys are still there, but they go for the safer route, you know? They're playing bot to mid, denying the control in the jungle. Ayla, does he have to pop ulti? He does. So that certainly hurts for the upcoming team fight, but Chiefs get the turret regardless.
They do. Looking to siege down this bot lane. AV just giving it up. It's not a very good place to defend. The siege here is going to matter a lot. Scion in the mid lane. There's Swiper pushing that mid lane in. So there are 4 here for the Chiefs at the bot lane and 5 for Avant. They dive in. Claire's getting attacked in the bot lane there.
Yep.
And they're getting focused down. In fact, they're starting the fight, but no, Claire does back away.
Important to note, the Baron is timed out, so there's no buffed up minions here. Ezreal plus the Demolished Proc is enough to take down this turret.
Duncan is
AV.
diving
Here we
forward
go.
so far. Here comes Swiper.
Ooh.
They land onto the gangplank. He's getting blown up, but he does escape. The Thresh does see him now. Kindred caught. That's a big one, but the ult goes down just in time. Saves his life. Sybil coming forward, trying to zone them off the turret. That mid inhibitor is going to fall. Looks like they're trying to catch out Scion. Flash fall by Claire. Massive damage onto the Avant lineup. 3 people altered. That second hit comes through. That inhibitor's down. And Avant just got beaten like a Bob Ross paintbrush.
Chiefs onto the Nexus turrets here. Resets are coming out from AV. A little bit of health back from the Fountain.
AV get one last fight to try and make it happen, and they're up against it. I have no idea how they're going to hold this one. Last Nexus turret is going to fall, and they're in a lot of trouble. The Nexus is slowly getting whittled down here. These kills from Chiefs are trying to pick up some members on the way out. Alistair gets taken out, though. This Nexus taking way too much damage.
Yep.
Razor's cleaning up the back line. There's a kill into Thresh. Lucian goes down as well, and Chiefs win the last game of Week 1.
20k styling underneath the Nexus. That was just a very dominant performance here for the Chiefs across the board. All of these players, Ayla for me specifically, that was a monstrous game from him, and just classic. Like, this is a different roster. 3 of these players have changed, but Chiefs is still categorized by like decisive team fight. And that's real cool.
I'm mostly impressed by Chiefs because every split I see the Chiefs and they make changes, right? Sometimes teams move somewhere else. Every single split, they always have a competitive roster. I've not had a year where they've not made finals, for starters. They've won a few of them as well, but this org is always going to be competitive in my eyes. And it's exciting to see when you have only 2 players return and you bring in full 3 new people. You see the players handshaking on your screens now. I don't know. I always get impressed by this team. They're always a good team to cheer for and always a very exciting team to watch.
Yeah, super interesting. And now they cement themselves at the top of the ladder alongside Bombers. I think you were saying the only other team to go 2-0. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that makes it, at the end of week 1, if you tell me that like Bombers and Chiefs are 2 of the teams that sit 2-0, like that makes a lot of sense coming into it. I feel like it gets a lot muddier as you go down, but those 2 teams, very solid performances, and that was just a very solid game.
Yeah, I think those 2 teams look very strong on paper. I think you also got to keep in mind that this is 2 games for these teams played, right?
Yeah.
They play 21 games, right?
Yeah, it's a
That
long
is
split.
a lot of games. There's still a lot of season to go. How these teams evolve over time is going to be very important. Can they come back fighting next week? Can they get cohesive with teams, especially these newer rosters?
Because there's also not any world where like there's no groups anymore. Everybody plays everybody twice.
3 times.
Sorry, 3 times. So
Yes.
there's 21 games. So there's like obviously you're 1, you play 7, 21. There was like a case where you could argue like this group is harder than this group because it used to be you play half the league twice and half the league once, but now it's straight up dead even, and so it's best of ones, 2 games a week, but the season is a lot of games.
It is a lot of games. And that's what makes it exciting for me is when we start getting to these repeat matchups, they'll be around week 3, week 4, we'll start seeing the second round of games. I want to see how these results change, right? Are we going to see the same results happen 3 times? I don't think so. I think teams evolve. And so next time these 2 teams meet, do Avant have a better performance? Or maybe do Chiefs win even harder? I don't know. But that's what I love about this league, so this split. And best of 1 makes everything super exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like AV coming out of that was a very one-sided affair, but it wasn't the worst loss we've seen. They already took down Order. Like they're coming out of week 1. I feel like heads held high. Like this is a brand new lineup for them. There were some very good moments. That last team fight, they played that as best as possible. I think Shock hit like a 3-man stun on the Syndra,
Yeah.
hook, and that like until Claire just decided he was just going to flash ulti and kill everyone, and then Raze could clean up. Before that point, like they played that as best as possible, given like the dragons, they had Baron, like that was a disastrous situation. The inhib was already gone, but like there were moments there. It wasn't a complete stomp. Like AV looked good in situations, but certainly.
Absolutely. Well, we've had enough from us. I'm going to throw it back to the couch, and is that Daniel Radcliffe?
Oh, snap! What an ending! Well done, Benji. That was actually the best incorporation of that so far. Well done to Chiefs. They did it again. They're unstoppable.
Yeah, Chiefs are a pretty good team. It was mentioned on the cast. It seems no matter what the roster is, they'll find a way to do pretty well. So I will say, of course, they got a pretty good roster this time. I'm not super surprised.
Yep.
But they did very well in that game.
Yeah, and I think the cool things is that they didn't necessarily control this game start to finish. There was a couple of good Eladoric rooms into the mid lane that really were able to get Shock rolling. There was a 20 CS lead over, Claire. And then you kind of like check back into the game and they just look like they have control everywhere. And I think that's the impressive thing about the Chiefs lineup, right? Is that they just have like really good shot calling. They have really good foundation around when they team fight and what conditions they team fight on. And I think that decisiveness just wins them so many games that otherwise they would not win. If anyone else tried to do what the Chiefs did, there would be, not everyone on the same page, like not the same level of cohesion. But when it comes to team fighting 5v5, like this is one of the scariest teams in the league. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Swiper cannot handle getting a tiny tattoo, but he can handle a team, and that's pretty impressive. Now, to quote Agent Mindstar in the chat, it's time for a spicy ending.
Yes.
Because we get those spicy
Yes,
tip
it
results
is.
up right now, and it looks like, Jake, you and... Is Pyra also a loser?
Yeah, Pyra's...
Okay, cool. So that's 2 for 2 for him.
Yeah, it is.
He's actually the biggest loser out of the team.
Which we can't say on this show.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we'll probably get sued.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of words at the thing right now. Apparently, the producer's telling me I'm liable for all the lawsuit costs. And Benji's phrases. Did you get everything through?
Absolutely everything.
Absolutely
Did you?
everything.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, he got 3 big beans. He got
Yep.
his really long one and then the Daniel Radcliffe one.
The Daniel Radcliffe
On the
one.
throw. Was
Yeah.
that in the game?
No, I'll count it though because
Okay.
it was used with the intention that the person in chat used it, which was
For you.
directed at
Yeah,
me.
it was.
But Jake, you can have your choice of chili.
No, I want you to pick me one.
This big old bad boy.
That one?
Yeah. I'm just gonna give you the one because if you can tank it, you
He
can
just
tank it.
has chili tolerance. I'm not sure how this is
That
going to
was
go.
an
Yeah.
aesthetic crunch.
It was a good crunch.
That was a good crunch.
Talk us
Chili.
through the results for today.
Are they going to come up on the screen?
I hope so.
All right, cool. So Bombers started off today, taking down Order, giving them their second loss of the year, I guess, so far. Then Legacy was able to pick up the victory over Direwolves.
This is
Mammoth
boring.
took down
Have
Gravitas.
another chili?
And Chiefs just smashed your mob in Avant Gaming.
Can you have another chili?
The nice thing is, I know he's trying really hard. To
He
be
is.
professional,
He so is.
And I super appreciate it because he does have a high tolerance for chili. But I'm sure he's also going, Nick, why are you talking so much right now? And why can't we just
No,
do this
I
shit?"
can keep going. Look, this is what next week will look like. Gravitas kicks us off versus the Direwolves before Bombers versus Legacy. Then Mammoth versus Avant Gaming. And we'll round out the Friday night with Chiefs versus Order. Are we going to do the Saturday as well?
Sure, if we have the graphic. If
I
not,
don't
just
know.
make it up.
Do we?
4 teams fight 4 other teams. Who cares? There's
Yeah,
going to
exactly
be chili
right.
at the
Top
end
of the
of it.
ladder right now is Bombers and the Chiefs. And then at the bottom of the ladder is my mob and Direwolves.
Direwolves,
Yeah.
On behalf of myself, Nick, Rusty,
we're-
Benji, Corey.
We're hosting.
Pardon?
We're hosting.
Oh, we're hosting Saria.
Yeah.
we go.
There you go.
And that chili was pretty mild.
Didn't even touch the sides.
Get me out of
For
here.
him.
Well done, Jake. Well done, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with more OPL. Good night.